This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining me here on September the 20th. Today, we're very lucky that we have a special guest speaker, Malcolm Louie from Eversprint. But before I turn it over to Malcolm, just a quick couple of notes. We're going to record the meeting. I post it on YouTube, so you will all get a link to the meeting later on, and feel free to share it on social media if you like. Also, please put your contact information in the chat, because later today when I post a meeting to YouTube and I email you the link, I'll also email you a transcript of the chat. So if you want people to have your email, your phone, your website, whatever it is that you want people to have, please put it in the chat. Conversely, if it's something you don't want me to share with the rest of the group, then please don't put it in the chat. Let's see, what else can I say? So the agenda for today is very, very simple. We're going to start with a round of introductions. So please say your name, where you're from, your company, your product or service, who might be a good referral for you so we can keep an eye out for you. Please try to keep it to a minute, about a minute and a half. And then after we do our round of introductions, again, we'll turn it over to Malcolm as our guest speaker. He will have the balance of the time, and hopefully at the end, we'll still have time for some questions and answers. Malcolm asked me to please say to hold your questions to the very end so he can get through all his material. And then again, hopefully at the end, we'll have 10 or 15 minutes for questions and answers with Malcolm. And if we still have time after that, then we'll just open it up for general questions and answers based on the introductions. So does all that make sense? And Nancy, I think you're sharing your screen, by the way, which is very beautiful.
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't used GoToMeeting in a long time, and now I've lost the picture. I think I'm going to back out and join again and do it right this time.
Well, just go up and hit that screen looking icon. It should take care of it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's get started while Nancy figures that out. And I just go in the order actually that I have people here. So, John, you're actually the very first one on my list. Again, could you please take a minute or two to introduce yourself to the rest of the group?
Sure. My name is John Lilienthal. I'm in Novi, Michigan, just northeast or northwest of Detroit. I am a business coach. My company is Statement Marketing. I work with small businesses to get them more revenue. I can usually find somebody between, excuse me, $10 to $50,000 that they didn't know they had, so to speak, and show them how to find it and how to put it in their business and put in the bottom line. It's done through strategies that most people aren't really aware of, and just looking at the business and seeing what they can improve, whether it's margins or sales or whatever it is. I have a deep background in sales and marketing, and I love to help people become more successful.
Okay, perfect. Malcolm, you're technically next on the list, but I'm going to skip you if you don't mind, just because you're the guest speaker, so you can do a much longer introduction.
Sure, no worries.
And I don't know if we've lost Nancy or not. Nancy, are you still with us?
I think she said she's going to go out and come back in again.
Yes. Okay, well, we'll come back to her. So, Rhoda, could you please take a minute or two? Rhoda's been to a lot of these meetings, so she knows exactly how this goes.
Hello, everyone from Indianapolis, Indiana. I am Rhoda, and my team and I write what you read when you go on our clients' websites. So we are content marketers focusing on the written word and on text and images to tell the story of our clients so that their visitors know that they are in the know and in the now. And we are looking right now for a retirement community to market, and also for a medical spa, particularly one that focuses on facial surgery.
Okay, very good. And let's see again. We'll come back to Nancy. I'll do mine real quick. I think you all know me, but my name is Sal Acosta. I am a business broker, and I help people buy and sell businesses. Now, since businesses and transactions come in all shapes and sizes, I usually deal with what's called Main Street businesses or lower middle market. So that's anything that on the low side may have as few as 10 employees. On the high side, maybe as many as 250. From a revenue perspective, anywhere from zero all the way up to a maximum of 10 or 20 million dollars. And I know things are still a little bit crazy. Oh, there's Nancy back with us. Things are a little bit crazy, but hopefully at least break even to about $1 million or $2 million in net positive cash flow for the year. And the beauty of meeting like this is that now that everybody's getting used to doing business over Zoom, I'm actually working and helping people all over the US. So again, very nice to be here with all of you, and I'll put out my contact information when I email everybody later. So Nancy, could you please take a minute or two to introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can.
I spent the first half of my career teaching in Fairfax County public schools. And then I left to found a nonprofit with 2 other professional women. And then COVID kind of decimated our funding. So I'm still on the board of directors for the nonprofit, and I still do free stuff for them, but I'm working now as an instructional designer. My master's degree is in applied behavior analysis, and then I went back to school and got a certificate in e-learning and instructional design. So I design infographics, posters, educational modules using articulate storyline. I did some work for one of my colleagues who's a acupuncturist in Manhattan. He has a practice in Midtown Manhattan. So I do videos, edit videos, all kinds of stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun to do that.
Excellent. I'm sorry, where are you again geographically, Nancy?
I'm in Northern Virginia, the Washington, D.C. area. Although I haven't seen the outside in quite a while.
Well, join the club. By the way, that reminds me, Stephanie, who normally is able to join us, said to remind everybody that the Balloon Fest over there in New Mexico is coming in October. So if anybody wants to take a trip out, it's absolutely beautiful. She says some of the balloon pilots are already out there training and practicing. All right, so now we're going to turn it over again to our guest speaker from Eversprint, Malcolm Louie. Malcolm, I know, is down in Texas near Austin. And Malcolm, I'll let you do a little bit of a longer introduction for yourself and then take over and do your presentation. And hopefully we'll have a couple minutes at the end for questions and answers.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me here as your guest speaker today, Sal. Hi, everyone. My name is Malcolm Louie. I am the managing member at Eversprint. And what we do is that we help business owners create businesses that can thrive without them, that are easier to build, exit, and grow. And we do this through 3 different ways. One, we help them reduce the cost of their business. For the small and medium-sized businesses that we've helped, the average annual savings, not average annual savings, the savings that we're able to find for them has averaged $200,000. So it's a nice chunk of change. We also provide a coaching program to help businesses improve themselves on 8 drivers that are valued by business buyers. And businesses that nail it on these 8 drivers, and I'll cover them in today's presentation, they get almost a double the valuation of their peers. Nailing on these 8 drivers also creates a business where you're the chairman or chairperson of the company. You're the owner of the business, not the operator of the business. And lastly, we also deliver sales appointments without advertising. And we do this primarily through text message marketing and email marketing. And to get started, let me share my screen. I have a presentation for you. And let me hit the right button here. All right. Do you see my screen now? Do you see a
Yes, we
maze
do.
and a ladder?
Yes.
Okay, so today's topic will be escaping the owner's trap and unleashing your sales. And I have these 7 topics to cover today. And maybe I can just take a minute of your time if you guys can look it over and let me know if those 7 topics sound pretty good to you. We can definitely skip over the ones that aren't of interest. How's it looking for everyone? First one, how to identify and escape from the owner's trap. The second one, how to scale your existing services and products. Third one, how to turn low value services into high value bundles. Fourth one, how to create a high value service from low value products. Fifth one, how to enter new products with new products, new markets with new products. The sixth one, how to double the value of your business and make it easier to run. And then the last one, we can talk about how we can save you and your client, you or your clients, $200,000 on average. And if we can't find any savings, you don't pay a dime. Does that sound pretty good today?
Sounds good.
Yep. All right, let's get rolling then. All right, so the first one we'll talk about is how to identify and escape from the owner's trap. So some signs of the owner's trap is, or rather, the owner trap is when you are the primary salesperson, and you're oftentimes a primary salesperson because you offer too many products and services that you're the only person who can sell it. And you're also oftentimes the only person who can deliver the service as well. Now, because you're the expert of all the products and services, the customers typically only interface with you and no one else. So all your time is being spent selling the product and servicing the clients, as well as perhaps helping your business in other ways, administrative ways, employee management ways. So what typically happens when you're in the owner's trap is that whenever you go on vacation, business slows down. Whenever something goes wrong, your clients will call you up directly. So again, it takes up your time, keeps you from selling more for your business. And ultimately what will happen is that your revenue hits a ceiling. And people who are in the owner's trap, they're typically the rainmaker of their business. They do business development, they do sales, they do customer relations, they do client service, among other things. I mean, they can also do payroll, they can handle paying the taxes, they work with the accountants, they do the books, they pretty much do everything. And the alternative that you can be, instead of the rainmaker, on the flip side, you can be the architect of your business. So the difference here is that an architect, they spend their time working on creating marketing funnels, creating sales processes, creating branding initiatives, and other systems and processes that can work independent of them, either through automation or by having a team. And the difference between the growth profile of a business with a rainmaker and an architect looks like this. So with a rainmaker, you can grow your business very rapidly at the very start because you know the products and your clients really well. But eventually your revenue and the value of your business hits a plateau. It just can't increase any further because you don't have any more hours in a day to sell more. The architects, on the other hand, who don't work in the business, but they work on the business, the growth is slower because they're not spending as much time selling to the customers. But over time, as their systems and processes grow and are accelerated, the business value and the business revenue will exceed that of a rainmaker-driven business. So the biggest challenge right now is that most people who are a rainmaker, say on the left-hand side, they're spending say 47 hours a week making things rain. They're spending another 13 hours a week on doing general admin related work, and they have 0 time spent on being an architect. So the first step, if you're in the rainmaker dilemma, is you need to carve out some time so you can be an architect, right? You can delegate, eliminate some of your tasks, reduce your rainmaker time, say from 47 hours a week to 35 hours a week. Similar for the admin work that you're doing, delegate it, eliminate it, automate it, so you can reduce it a bit further. So in this example, I went from 13 hours a week to 8 hours a week, and that freed up 17 hours a week for doing work as an architect of your business. So there are a few things that you can do to think about, to reflect upon, to get yourself out of the owner's dilemma, owner's trap. You can look at how you've been able to make your business less dependent on you. And then you can perhaps think about what you can do in the next 90 days to make the business even less dependent on you currently. I'm sure there are probably some non-critical tasks that you have on your plate that you can either delegate, eliminate, or perhaps automate. Sound good so far?
Yeah.
Any questions I can answer for you while we're here? Okay. All right, let me move on to the next topic then. So the second one we talk about is how to scale your existing services and products. And the secret to scaling is actually to sell less to more people, right? It's a bit counterintuitive, but when you sell a lot of different things to a lot of people, that makes the business more dependent on you. And by selling fewer things, it actually makes it easier for you to train others to do the sales process for you. So it's easier to scale the business. Now, selling less stuff doesn't mean you sell fewer products or services. It can also mean that you bundle them together so that you can sell a few package solutions instead of a large number of customized solutions. So to scale up your business, there are really just a few products or services that you have currently that meet 3 criteria. They're teachable, meaning they're not dependent on you. You can teach someone else to do it. They're services and products that are of greatest value to your most valuable customers, right? So you want to keep your most valuable customers happy with the service that you provide. And it's repeatable. It helps you generate some recurring revenue. So let me give you an example of a business that went through this exercise. It's called the Cash to School Photography. It's a photography company in England. They worked through the scalability finder exercise, which I'll share with you shortly. And it led them to build their business solely around school photography. And here's how their different services looked before they made the transition. Before they did weddings, they did soccer photos, they did school photos, and they ranked each of these services in regards to how teachable it is, how valuable, how repeatable, and then they got a total score. So for these 3 services, school photos became the highest one, the highest ranking. And the reason why it scored highest is that it was teachable. It was easy to teach young photographers how to take school photos because they're pretty much the same photo every time with just a different kid in the photograph. It's also valuable to the schools because the school principals want the photographers to be able to get the kids in and out of the auditorium quickly. And it's also repeatable. Parents want to purchase school photographs every year. Now we look at this on a graphical basis where you put the value of the service on the y-axis and the degree that's teachable on the x-axis. You can see how the different service categories rank. Weddings and school photos are up there, both in terms of being valuable and teachable. But the problem is that weddings are not repeatable, right? Most people only have one wedding, right? It doesn't happen every single year like school photos. So school photos is the service that the company should focus on, and which they did focus on, and they were successful growing the business around school photos. Everything sound good so far?
Hey, Malcolm, real quick, and I
Yeah.
know we both said to save questions for the end, but real quick, how do you think about the risk of, as you specialize more, then there's a higher risk that something will come along and disturb your revenue? I mean, and I don't want to focus on the pandemic because that's such a black swan exercise. But again, as you specialize more, there's more risk of obsolescence, of the market changing, new technology, whatever. How do you value that in the context of this model?
Yeah, I do have actually a slide later on talking about number 5, how to enter new markets with new products. But on this model here, don't forget we're focusing on the service that's most valuable to your customers, right? That's the value axis. And we're also focusing on the ones that you can teach others. So one, you're providing a service that is a value to a customer, so they're less likely to not want it. And you're also providing a service that's teachable, so you're not going to be dependent on an employee, so you reduce the risk here as well. And you have a service that's a repeating business service. It's not a one-off service. So that as well is a lower risk structured service, right? The things that a buyer would would want, right? Sales that are valuable to the customers, that's teachable and scalable, and that is more repeatable, ideally recurring. So does that answer your question, Sal?
Yep, thank you.
Yep, okay. All right, so next topic. Let's talk about how to turn low value services into high value bundles. So oftentimes when you look at the valuable and teachability axes, you'll find that the services that you offer that are the most valuable to your customers, to your clients, are also the least teachable. And similarly, the most teachable services are also the lowest value. So that happens often, and it's entirely normal. You're not in an unusual circumstance if you find that. But the secret here is to package a number of your less valuable offerings into a more valuable bundle. And let me give you an example of how one company did that. This is a company called Root Advisors. They are a successful accounting practice in Indiana. And they had a number of accounting services. And the reason why I say had is because they bundled them. Let me show you how they did that. So they had a number of individual services that were of low value to their clients: payroll, recording daily deposits, reconciling bank accounts, handling the monthly financial statements. Each of them on their own, not that valuable to their customers. But what they found is if they were to group them together as a single package, it became very valuable for their clients who are time starved, such as doctors and architects. So by bundling all these services together, it saved their clients time. They no longer had to deal with different vendors for each of these low value services, and bundling them together turned it into a high value service for Root Advisors. So now what they do is that they sell different packages of their BOSS program that includes those low value services together. And the benefit to them of packaging it together, it goes back to the scalability exercise where you're looking to sell fewer things to more people. So they're selling fewer package items, still the same number of things within it, but because it's packaged, it allows them to better systemize their processes and allows them to scale better. So when you go through this exercise for your own business, maybe think about how you can bundle together some of your low value services into a high value bundle. Everything sound good so far?
Yep.
Okay. So the next step is how to create high value services from low value products, physical products. So far we've been talking about services. Here's a way that you can bundle products and create a service around it. So the example I'm going to give for you is a shoe store, right? Shoes are pretty much a commodity product, right? Many different shoe stores carry the same shoes as you do. The question is, how do you differentiate yourself? So here's a company called The Running Room. It's a bricks and mortar retailer and the owner, John Stanton, wanted to set his business apart from others. And here's how his products look on the valuable and teachability chart. The gel shoes he sells, the nutritional gels he sells, the apparel, the shoes, they're fairly low value in the eyes of the customer because they can buy them anywhere. It's easy to teach his staff how to sell those things, but it's low value. So what he did is that he created clinics, and these are paid clinics, not free clinics, teaching people how to run, right? He had clinics on how to run a 5K, how to run a 10K, clinics on nutrition, diet, preventing injury. And these clinics are very popular. They were a new revenue source for him as well. And it also made it easier for his team to sell shoes and apparel and gels to the people who are attending the clinics. So since he went to this model, he was able to scale it out, and he now has 80 locations of his shoe store across multiple countries. So if you own a physical product business, think about a service that you can wrap around the products that's teachable, valuable, and repeatable. And here's the scalability finder exercise. You list the products, one per row, rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 on how teachable, valuable, and repeatable they are. Total up the numbers together, and the product or service with the highest score is one for you to potentially think further about in regards to focusing on that product or service and scaling it up further. All right, everything good so far?
Yep. By the way, Patrick, I saw you joined us, and thank you for joining us. We're going through Malcolm as our guest speaker, but when we wrap up, we'll give you a chance to say hello and introduce yourself to everybody here.
Thank you so much. I had problems with the internet. I didn't know what was happening. I nearly gave up, but I said no.
Okay, well, very good. Like I said, we'll come back to you in a second. So, Malcolm, I'm sorry if you want to keep going.
Thank you.
No worries. All right. Next on the list, how to enter new markets with new products. And this kind of will answer your question, Sal, of how to reduce the risk of going into a new market. So what you see here is the Ansoff matrix. It was developed by H. Igor Ansoff and first published in the Harvard Business Review way back in 1957. And it gives you a quick and simple way to think about the risks of growth. So the lowest risk is in the lower left-hand corner where you sell your existing products in existing markets. And the medium-sized risk is when you just change one dimension. You don't change two. So the next medium risk way of growing your business is to go into, for example, new markets and existing products in the upper left. Or in the lower right, you go into new products and existing markets. The most risky endeavor to go into is to go into a new market with a new product. So I have a real simple example of this. So say your kids sell lemonade to driveway traffic in your neighborhood. So what they can do to expand their business is they can start selling iced tea, a new product, to the same traffic, right? That's in the lower right-hand corner. Or what they can do is take their lemonade, that's a proven seller, to the driveway traffic, and go to the beach, and they can sell their lemonade. That's in the upper left-hand corner. But the most risky thing for them to do is to sell a new product, iced tea, in a new market, going to the beach. So when you're thinking about expanding into new markets and new products, try to do it just one dimension at a time, right? Not go into both a new market and a new product at the same time. Any questions I can answer for you guys so far? All right. So now we're on to number 6, how to double the value of your business and make it easier to run. So what I've gone through with you so far are just 2 of the 8 key drivers that I talked about in my introduction, the growth potential and the hub and spoke. The growth potential is about getting out of the owner's trap and reducing the dependency the business has on you, the owner. And the growth potential is the scalability finder, finding the product or service that you can scale further, and finding the new products and new markets to enter. So if you nail it on these 2, it will go a long way toward making your business easier to run and more valuable and potentially easier to sell. To make it even easier to nail it on building, growing, and exiting your business, you want to optimize your business on these other dimensions here. Financial performance, the Switzerland structure, which refers to reducing your dependencies on employees, vendors, customers. You want to improve your cash flow. That's the valuation teeter-totter. For this measure, for this module, what we're going to be looking to do is getting paid more quickly for the work you do, and of course, paying your vendors more slowly to improve your cash flow. Buyers like businesses that have recurring revenue, ideally on a subscription basis or a very long-term ironclad contract. And you as a business owner will like that as well, because now you don't need to spend time grinding it out and finding a new client every month, for example. You have a client that's doing business with you on a regular basis. So we work with our clients on finding ways to add recurring revenue into their business. Monopoly control is about creating a monopoly in your market, in the minds of your audience, where you are the only solution for their problems. So we do this through marketing. And what you find is that it's a kind of a circular self-reinforcing cycle. As you create a business that's the best solution for your customers, you end up doing more business with them, which gives you more cash flow, which allows you to further execute your marketing program, to further build your perception, your positioning as the go-to provider of your service. Next to last is customer satisfaction. Businesses like Apple that are rated very high on customer satisfaction tend to have a very high growth rate as well, which makes sense, right? People who enjoy your products and services, they come back and buy it again, and they recommend you to others. So part of the modules we work with our clients, we help them execute a survey to figure out where they stand on customer satisfaction. And you can also do this for employees as well, right? Happy employees stay longer, makes it easier to recruit and hire more people. And from these surveys, we can see what's working well and what's not. So those are the 8 key drivers that we cover. And we found that for businesses that nail it on these 8 drivers, not only are they easier, not only do these 8 drivers make the business easier to run, easier to build, grow, and exit, buyers will also value these businesses higher. So the average business who completed our value builder survey, they scored an average of, they received an average multiple for their business of 3.5 times. Whereas those businesses that scored in the 90th percentile or higher, they receive almost double the valuation, right? Because by nailing in all those 8 drivers, the risk level is reduced, the potential for further growth is higher, and buyers will be keen on buying a business like that. Now, we do have a freedom workshop where we talk about how you can improve your business along all 8 of these drivers. It's a one-day workshop, similar to what we went through today, although we'll do this in the next 10 minutes, where we collaborate together as a group to figure out what challenges we may have for each of the modules that we covered during the day, and find solutions for that. So if you're interested in learning more about our Freedom Workshop, you can shoot me an email at this email address, which I also put in the chat. Or you can click on this link, the eversprint.com/schedule, to book a time for us to talk. Everything sound good so far? Any questions I can answer for you?
Very interesting. Thank you.
Okay. And last on the list is how we can save you or your clients $200,000 on average. That was how much it was saved for the small and medium-sized businesses that we've helped. And we do this across 6 different dimensions, right? Oftentimes there are special tax incentives that a business is not aware of that they can qualify for. Sometimes a credit card merchant that they're using have fees that are higher than the ones that we have available. We also have potentially some waste and recycling providers that can provide those services at lower costs. Another one is that we find often is that companies overpay for their workers' comp insurance. And lastly, if the business does a lot of shipping, there's room here for a lower vendor. So the way we work is that we will provide a cost audit, and if we're not able to find any savings whatsoever, there's no charge to the companies that we had audited. So my resource partner who provides the service does it entirely on a pay-for-performance basis. So if you're doing over $300,000 in revenue, good chance that we can find something for you, some savings for you. And if your business is, of course, larger than that, the amount of potential savings we can find is much higher. If you're interested in doing an audit of your business, or perhaps learning about how the process works, so you might want to provide it to your clients, you can visit r.eversprint.com/cost-audit, and you can answer a few questions there and book a time for us to go through the 6 questions that I'll ask you to see the potential savings that we might be able to find for you. And if those savings look good to you, then we can book the deep dive discovery call and audit. Or you can shoot me an email at malcolm.louie@eversprint.com. Again, if we don't find you any savings at all, there's no fee whatsoever. You don't pay a dime. So, are there any questions I can answer for you about my presentation so far? If not, what we can do after answering the questions, maybe we can work through some of the exercises together. Any questions I can answer for anyone?
Yeah, hello, Malcolm. That was really, really interesting, particularly with the bundling and adding on. Can you talk about monopolizing? That you have a product that's unique, so you start off with the monopoly, but then you have to kind of protect that monopoly. So could you expand on that?
Yeah. Those are one of the modules that we cover during our Freedom Workshop, as well as during the monthly coaching that we provide for our clients who for those who want more support beyond the workshop. And you don't necessarily need to have a true monopoly. You don't need to be, say, a utility company, for example, right?
Yeah.
What it is positioning your service, perhaps even customizing it to some degree to make it the best solution for your particular market, right? So as an example, let me think of one. Just looking on my tabletop here, I have an iPhone on my desk, right? It's an expensive product, right? $1,400 phone that I carry in my pocket. That's a lot of money, right? But it's been positioned to be the best solution for me, for what I value, for the status it gives me, for the ease of use, right? But it's not the best phone for everyone. The ones who have a lower budget, they're not going to want to buy the iPhone. The ones who want more flexibility, more control of how they can configure their product isn't going to want an Apple. They might want to buy an Android phone instead. So it's about positioning your product and building the perception, the marketing in the minds of your audience, right? Not everyone, right? Apple, it's a mass consumer product. They advertise to a lot of people, but they do have their focus, right? They're not trying to target everyone. They're not going to want to target the people who only want to buy the old style flip phone with no smartphone capability. So does that answer your question, Patrick?
Yeah, and another one, briefly, what percentage on average success do you have? For instance, if you talk to 100 people or you let them know about your service, do 10% engage with you, or do 4% or 20%, or on average, or and when they don't, what do you do? Do you keep uh, stay connected with them, and the timing may be wrong for them, or?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a little bit hard to answer that question because I need to know the context. Like, why am I contacting them? How did they first enter onto my radar screen? Do I know them? Do they know me? Did it come by an introduction? Are they a good fit for my product or service? It can range from a cold outreach to someone who doesn't know me, and I'm offering a product or service that's a mismatch for them. And those scenarios, it's a 0% response rate. And does it make sense to keep in touch with them? Probably not. On the other hand, I've had introductions, warm introductions from my clients to other business owners they know who are exactly like them, right? So I'm referring to the work I was doing at one time with an educational business, and they had other franchisees who do the same thing but in a different market. And they would introduce me to them. And, after one call, we'd get rolling on the marketing work that we're doing. And the conversion rate was 75%, for example.
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
again, the difference was the context
Yeah.
and the fit. So in the first example I gave you, the context and the fit were really poor. And the second one, the context was very warm and the fit was really good. You know, when you say, yeah, I've helped 22 of your fellow franchisees with this, you know, do you want me to help you as well? They go, yes, that's pretty easy. So
Hmm.
yeah. And if
Well,
those and the ones who
yeah.
didn't, the 25% who didn't do this, didn't move forward, yeah, definitely keep in touch with those folks because they're still a good fit. They just weren't ready to move forward.
Yeah. But I think you come across, Malcolm, as somebody who has integrity. And, this may not be for you. And however, how can we help you? What do you want to achieve? That's,
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a personal philosophy as well.
yeah.
I'm not the wolf on Wall Street. I don't have the silver tongue and ability to persuade people to buy something that they weren't interested in buying, right? For me,
Yeah.
it's just more practical. I'd rather, if we're not a great fit, I'm totally okay with that. I totally understand it. And if we are a fit, but you're not ready to work together, I'm okay with that too. Let's just keep in touch. And that's a different presentation for a different time, about how to keep in touch. And if we are a good fit and everything looks good, and we can help each other, right? If I can help you, let's get started on that. So,
Well,
Great.
listen. So let's wrap up a little bit here because I know Malcolm needs to run, and I still want to give a minute or two to Patrick to introduce himself. So, any other last questions from anybody to Malcolm based on his excellent presentation, and thank you very much for doing that for us.
Malcolm, how long do you work with somebody? Is it a long-term thing? Is it a short-term thing? You tell them what to do and trust that they'll do it, or walk them through the process?
yeah, for the value builder system, the engagement where we go through the 8 drivers, these are things that that take at least a year to get rolling on them, right? Because you're making structural changes to your business, right? It's the strategic changes, repositioning your business strategically, and it takes time. Like for example, to extract yourself from the owner's trap, so the business isn't dependent on you. That could potentially require you to hire new people and train them up. That takes time. But maybe even before you do that, you need to systemize and commit in writing what you do so you have something for someone to take over, right? So it takes time to do that, especially in today's economy where it's hard finding talented people.
Yeah. Well,
Creating
you have to
record.
do job descriptions, I would imagine, and maybe even a training program. I mean, for getting to hiring is again, how are you going to train these people when you hire them?
Yeah, and oftentimes what our program does, it helps crystallize what you need to do and how to do it. We can assist at a higher level. But when you start getting deeper into it and you need more help on how to execute something, that's when I'm going to bring in a partner. So if you need help with hiring, right, I'm going to bring in a recruiter who can help you with that. If you need help with uh, improving say your financial performance, right, making your statements auditable, so when a buyer comes in, they don't have any doubt about the numbers you're giving them. I'm going to say, yeah, you need to hire a CPA for this, right? I can't do this for you, right? So what we do, we give the what, and we provide coaching to help the business owner come up with a plan, and we will help keep the business owner accountable. And when they hit a wall that they need additional help with, then we will, if they don't have a resource to turn to, I'll reach into my network and find someone who can help them. So, did that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay, so that's for the value builder module. For the other cost reduction service that I mentioned to you, that can happen very quickly for some of them. For some of the other ones, it takes a bit more time, especially if it involves you filing paperwork in regards to your tax returns and making applications for the different programs. All right.
Perfect. All right, Rhoda or Nancy, any questions for Malcolm before we switch over here to Patrick and before we run out of time?
Nope. Just enjoyed listening. Most of the stuff that I've been working on has been nonprofit stuff, which can be a little bit different from for-profit businesses.
It can be, in terms of, you know, some things there are some overlap, right? So for from a fundraising perspective, right, you would want to position your nonprofit as being the best solution for providing the service to your category of people that you're trying to help, right? So you have a monopoly position there. Uh, Recurring revenue, right? Can you put your donors on a recurring donation program as opposed to a one-off now and then, and you get to chase them up every year, right? So there's some applicability to it, but you're right, it is a little bit different.
The biggest problem that we have is most of our donors are strapped for cash.
Okay.
The nonprofit that I continue to work for free is one thing that we did is we established the first national IVF scholarship for couples without insurance to cover in vitro fertilization. People Magazine did a story on us. We courted with them for a year to get the story, and then, you know, particularly during the pandemic, and nobody's got any money and everybody's afraid to go out. So we do have a couple of big donors that donate every year. That's not me, I hope.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello.
Anyway, so, you know, it wasn't unusual for us to have on our forums. We were also we're the first infertility site on the entire web. And we were the first to bring doctors and people within the industry together with consumers in real time. Nobody did that before us. And then it wasn't unusual for our forums to get 10 million page views a month. That's individual page views, that's not hits. Then Facebook took a lot of that traffic away. And now we're upgrading our website. I'm working with a colleague that I knew when he was here, but he's in Indonesia, and it's like about 3/4 less expensive here, and he really knows what he's doing, and I know him. I've known him for a while. So we're going to redo the website, but we can't reestablish like connections with our professional members until we do that. I can't, you know, we have professional members and we have consumer members, but everything that we provide free. Information is basically what we provide, and we're hooked in with some of the best specialists in the country. But until we upgrade our website, I don't know that there's a lot more that we can do that we're not doing already. But that's kind of where we are, and that's why I started freelancing as an instructional designer to make ends meet at home.
Yeah. Well, from what you could potentially do that's a very low cost is you can still keep in touch with your past donors and the past people you helped through email marketing, even though your website's not up to snuff just yet. And then for those donors that have on a cash crunch, if any of them are business owners, maybe we should talk to them about finding some costs that we can save for them to help free up some cash for their business and perhaps free up some cash for potential donation to you. And that could be with your corporate donors as well, who might be finding things a little bit tight right now due to the pandemic.
Yeah. And actually, let me do something, because I want to get everybody out of here, just in a minute or two, just to give you a break before, if you have another meeting or video chat coming up in 5 minutes. But Patrick, do you want to take a minute or two before we wrap up and introduce yourself?
Yes, everybody, my apologies for being late, and I'm so delighted. Malcolm, that was so interesting, and thank you, Sal. What I'm doing is I'm educating and enabling understanding on the new science of signaling within our bodies. For instance, every second of every day, our cells are passing tremendous amounts of information throughout the body, and any breakdown in that signaling and communication, we cannot be fully healthy. For example, we get a signal when we're hungry, when we're thirsty, when we're tired, when we're cold, when we're too hot, and most importantly of all, when we get up at 5 in the morning to go to the loo. I mean, that is a wonderful signal, and you go back to bed again. So those are the conscious signals, but unconsciously, where our heart is beating, our lungs are working, our pancreas switches on when we eat food to metabolize it, and loads of other types of signals. So excuse me, to correct this natural and in some cases unforeseen decline due to the impact of lifestyle stressors and age, we now have available the health breakthrough of redox signaling molecules. This is the only technology in the world that amplifies and clarifies our critical cell signals, and the difference it is making in most people's lives is absolutely astonishing. For many people, this is now the missing link for better health and vitality. Independently validated, non-toxic, and enabling us to have a real advantage. The type of people I'm looking for are people who have a health challenge, people who are health conscious, and those who are looking for an additional income stream. It'd be great to work with people you know and people you serve. My thanks to you all for your patience and enabling me to understand what you're doing. Thanks again, Malcolm.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Okay, well, listen, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully, you all had an opportunity to put your contact information in the video chat. I will share it later today when I send out an email with the link to the recording. And that's it. We'll have another meeting in exactly 2 weeks at 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time if anybody wants to join us again. In one of our future meetings, we are having another wonderful guest speaker, David Radin, and he's actually from Pittsburgh. He's local. I actually know him in person, and he's going to talk about a platform called Confirmed, which I don't know how many of you use Calendly, but it's a very sophisticated Calendly with artificial intelligence, lots of behavioral economics behind it. We were talking, I love behavioral economics, and we were talking about how he's using all types of behavioral economics and artificial intelligence to come up with a superior scheduling product and really increase the probability that somebody's going to accept your meeting, which of course is very important to all of us. So keep your eyes out for that one. Malcolm, thank you very much for being our guest speaker in today's session. And I will let all of you guys go so that you can be on time for your next meeting.
Yep. Nice
Thank
meeting you all.
you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Sal. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I'm on a Mac and I have a black screen. Once you started sharing your screen, my screen went black. Any ideas? Can you email me? I do want to come back.
You know what? Here's what, Nancy. When you get the recording on YouTube, you should be able to see the screen. I mean, I know it's not perfect because you're not seeing it in real time.
Yeah.
But I'm 99% sure you'll be able to see the screen when I send out the YouTube recording.
Oh, I'm sure that I'll be able to see it because you're recording it. I just like to participate fully, and I'm trying to figure out why. Actually, this is one of the reasons we stopped using GoToMeeting and went to Zoom.
Oh, okay. The only other suggestion that I can make to you is I can send you the
Oh, there you
customer.
are. There you are.
Yeah, but I can't see you.
Oh, sorry.
Hello. Yeah. You know what? I tried to figure it out some while we were doing it. Apparently, there are other people on a Mac that I also have a PC. I use both, so maybe I'll try it with my PC next time.
Yeah, well, let me tell you this too, by the way. Try, and I can send you the phone number if you need it. Try contacting technical support for GoToMeeting. I've used them a couple of times, and honestly, they're absolutely excellent. They'll really take time to work with you if you have the patience, and they'll guide you. And I know I had somebody from Florida, Jack Maitland. I think Rhoda and Patrick know him. He was having all these issues where his computer screen was freezing and he had to reboot and whatever. And they really helped them figure that out. So one of the reasons I use GoToMeeting is because their tech support is actually very, very good.
Yeah, they are good. we were doing a lot of webinars, and Zoom just was more economical for us to use. But I'll do that because I like to participate fully. I like to see your smiling faces.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, yeah,
I
so
think
don't forget.
I also think it could be Big Sur. I've read that other people have had problems. It's, you know, Apple doesn't give you the choice of whether to update. They just update you, kind of like. So I'll figure it out.
Okay, well, no worries. Well, listen, and if you want to do a trial run, just let me know. I don't mind getting on here. We'll do a trial run and we'll play around with it, and I'll just give you time to change settings or try whatever you want to try. And then again, real quick, just remember, in exactly 2 weeks, we're doing the next one. We do them every other week. So in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll sign up. I really like what you're doing, and it's definitely a reasonable price, and I think I'll get a lot out of it. Hopefully, maybe I can, provide information that other people will get something out of.
Yeah,
If you want
absolutely.
me to help you, Nancy,
I don't know if
I'll
it's
help
the
you.
one in 2 weeks or the one in 4 weeks, but definitely don't miss the guest speaker for Confirm because I know him personally, and that's going to be a great presentation.
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, guys. See you later.
If you
Bye.
want, if you could dial into me, Nancy, and I can check it out with you as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Nancy. Bye.
All right,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye. 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 Bye.